Hello, this is the last video in the series and I'll be talking about services. I'll start off by coding an example of intent service. An intent service is, you can think of it as a separate program that runs separately from your main activity. So you can use it to do things like multi-threading. What you can do with multi-threading, the example will be adding two numbers again. So it's the same example as this one, except in the previous video I added two numbers on a background thread. This time I'm using a service, an intent service to be exact, to add two numbers, also on a background thread, but it's running inside of a service. And I'll talk about broadcasting. Broadcasting is how you communicate from a service to the main activity and vice versa. So it's the communication mechanism between services and main activity. And actually, you can use it to communicate between services to services too. So it's a general purpose communication mechanism. So when the GUI is around, we can use broadcast to send messages to the main activity, and then the main activity will display things, right? But if the main activity has been closed by the user, so this is where the advantage of a service comes in. Even if the user interface is gone, a service can still be running. So even if the main program has exited, the adding service can still be running in the background. And then it can communicate to the user via the notification mechanism. So in this part, I'll write code where the slowly adding, where the service is slowly adding two numbers in the background. It's going to update the user through the notification. So I'll show you how to code notifications. So a couple slides on that. And I'll talk about the alarm manager. Like I mentioned before, the main advantage of, well, I wouldn't say advantage, the main difference of intent service compared to multi-threading is that for threads, if your program stops, if your program closes, if the user exits, the thread is gone. And service can linger in the background. So alarm manager allows the service to reschedule. So you can have a service running indefinitely in the background. So whenever a service finishes, it's going to be gone as well. But the alarm manager can reschedule the service to run again and again. So this is again a service topic because it's usually used along services to keep services running. And this is another important service topic: how to respond to the boot completed message. So basically, when Android finishes booting, it's going to broadcast a boot completed message to everybody who's registered to listen to a message, to this particular message. So I'll show how to write a program that receives this message and then react to the message by using the alarm manager to schedule a service. So this lets you run a service whenever the Android boots up. Okay. So this is what lets you run a service whenever Android boots up. And this is what lets you repeat the service indefinitely. So these last two topics combine together to have to let you code a service that's always running in the background. And that's the introduction that's a summary of what I'll be doing in this video. Okay, for this video segment, I'll do the adder example. The example where I add two numbers in the background, I'll do that using intent service. And first, I'll go over why are we using intent service? Why not a service? So intent service is something that's inheriting from service. So just briefly, why are we not using service? So this is the API guides, services. The reason is here. A service runs in the main thread of the application that hosts by default. So intent service will run on a background thread. So if you use a service, you have to create the thread yourself. Whereas if you use the intent service, the framework already created a background thread for you. So it's more convenient usually using an intent service. Okay, so that's why. And yeah, the guy has a section on lengthy, very lengthy section on services. You can do the same thing. It's a lot more code if you use a service. So if you want to learn more, just go to API guide services. But won't be going over that. And the example is the same one as before, where I have two boxes for two numbers. I add them in the background, and there's a progress bar. And there's actually a text view here to show the result. So same stuff as before, and same skeleton code as before. I have references to these controls. I get these references using find view by ID. There's an event handler for the add button. This is there because what if people enter in like a empty string for this one, right? So it's just to trap the user input errors here. And cancel, actually I won't be doing cancel. You need to use multi-threading to do cancel. And this is a video about service, so I won't be doing cancel. The reason you need multi-threading, it's kind of like this table when I previously did the example using service handler thread, the handler thread, excuse me. You need multi-threading because you need one thread to run the adder, to run the addition part, and you have another thread waiting for the cancel message. That's how you can cancel it. So so that's why you need to have two threads, okay? Because you have to have this free thread waiting for that cancel message from the GUI. And to simplify my example, to keep the example simple, I'll just use one thread inside intent service, because it's a video about services, not about multi-threading. So that's why cancel cannot be implemented. It will make the example more complicated, basically. Okay. So how do you write intent service? Well, you create a class that extends the intent service class. Okay, so and in general, these classes they should be public for services. And later on, there's also broadcast receiver, which should also be public. So create a new service, call it adder service, or rather intent service, I guess, and have it inherited from intent service. The finish button's off screen. Okay. So put a mouse over it. They want you to add a constructor. Okay. And this is the name of the service. I'll just kind of hard code it in here like this. So there's no need to pass in the name. Just like that. Okay. So when the service is started, it's just gonna get here. And this on handle intent, it's gonna be in the background thread. So the first thing you do is change this. Right, arg0 is not good. Where's the cursor? Okay, let's just get the cursor back. The first thing you do is you're trying to extract the numbers. Okay, so the main activity will start this service. It's just like starting a child activity, and they're gonna pass in two numbers. Okay, the two numbers that you are going to be adding. So it's going to be number 1, and then there's going to be number 2, and they'll be packaged inside the intent. And this is a lot like a child activity. So if you don't remember, you can go back to the child activity video and review that stuff. But basically, you extract it off the intent. The get function. The get function has a bunch of variations, so I'll be passing in two numbers, so I'll be extracting it from this. Okay, and you need a name, you need a default value. Okay, so this name is some kind of string of string name. It's a key to the lookup table. So just like the child activity example, I'm gonna have some hard-coded strings up here. Public final, and then Oh, it's a string. I'll call it like param. I guess num1, right? Num1. So I'll get over this part first. So I'm extracting from the intent, just like a child activity. So I better do it over here too, huh? Oops, I don't need to touch that anymore. Okay, in the add handler, well, first I'll extract the two numbers. What was it? Num1 edit text, right? Okay, and there's the same thing for num2, just a different text box. So, okay, and I'll be making a new intent. Okay, so this is not gonna bring in the intent. Okay, so over here on the main activity side, I'll be put extra, right? That string name is gonna be was it adder? That param1 thing. Okay, so same thing for the other one. Okay, so on the main activity side, I'm stuffing these two numbers into the intent object, and I'm using the same lookup key. This is the string. Okay, this is that string. Okay, and then on this side, on the receiving end, this is the receiving end. I'm extracting the two numbers. So that's basically how the communication works. Okay, so get that over. So I did this, explain this part to get to extract the parameters. Now you need to do this. You need to declare in the manifest file. Where's my screen? Okay, so I'll bring in this here. Okay, it's manifest file down here. Just go here. So activities, if you add a new activity, Eclipse has a wizard to do this for you. But like for services, for now at least, I have to do it manually. It's like that. Actually, it's on one line, so like that. So you have to do the name attribute and exported attribute. So I'll do the name attribute first. Name. Okay, so it's Android name. Control space. So which one? It's the one that I just wrote here. Okay. So I'm registering this service into the application. Someday they should automate this. Okay. Just like when you create a new activity, it's like, it's like register to the application, right? Like the same stuff here. It's just, this thing instead. Okay. Now the other thing you have to do is the export. Export false means that no one else can run this service. It's a different topic altogether. You can by default you can export to true, meaning that other programs can use this service. But how do you trust services, right? Like other people's services. If it's Google service, like we all trust, but if it's my service, probably nobody trusts, right? So anyways, so just usually export false so that nobody can run the service except for pieces of your program can run this service. So this adder service is for internal use only, basically. So that's what this thing is saying. Now to start an intent service, you create a new intent. Okay. So over here, oh no, excuse me. Over here, create new intent. When the user click the add button, the goal is to start the background service, the adder service, to add the two numbers in the background. So it's gonna be here. Now, which constructor to use? It's the same one as starting a child activity, right? There's quite a few constructors. It's this one, the context and the class type, class. Okay, the context it's main dot this, and this is the adder class basically. Oh, time to drag this back, I guess. Okay, so you can see the whole line. Okay, so I create a new intent. I stuff things inside the intent. I stuff those two numbers that are being added inside the intent. This is just like starting a child activity. Okay, up to this point, this next part, I have this already, right? Okay, start service. So that's the main difference between starting a service and starting an activity. So right, start. So you have start activity, start intent sender, blah blah blah. Okay, so what we're doing is start service. Okay, it's gonna be I. Okay, so create new intent, start service. After you call this, the execution on a different thread. Okay, on a background thread, it's gonna arrive here. And this is where I'll do the addition, the slow addition, right? So send the next. Okay. So the next is to broadcast. Broadcast is to update the main GUI. Like as I add, there's that progress bar that I need to animate, and also at the very end I need to report the sum of these two numbers. So at the very end, it's gonna be that. And I have to report this back. Broadcast sum back to main. And in the meantime, there's this big delay, right? Make it 60, I guess. So this delay is the sleep function, and as it sleeps, I'll be updating the progress bar, and I need to do that interrupt thing here, right? Let's run with try catch. Set. It's better off doing it outside. Looks easier on the eye. Okay. Oops, there. So it's it's just like a multi-threading example. You get the two numbers. You have this big delay to pretend that adding two numbers is a lot of work. Add two numbers. I have to send the sum back. Also in here, I have to also broadcast the progress. It's like a progress update. Progress. So progress is the number between 0 to 100, right? So that's I divided by highest number here is 59. So you need to make it a floating point division times 100. Okay, so this is going to be 0 to 100. This should be 0, or leading the whole thing to be 0. Or I could be 59, leading the whole thing to be 100. Okay. And you need to round this off. Okay. Okay. Now I need to actually broadcast this back to main activity. Okay, and down here, this is just a quit function. Just return. Down here I have to broadcast it back. Anything else, or I think that's basically it. So next slide, this slide, current slide, how do you do this broadcast thing? To send out a broadcast, you create an intent action string. So this is a different constructor than before. Previously, whenever I created intents, I've been using this constructor, the context and the class that you want to start. Broadcast, okay, in this situation, I'm starting a very particular service. Or in the other examples, I'm starting a child activity. So I have a definitive target here. So when you're doing broadcast, you don't have a target. That's the whole idea. You push this message out into operating system and see who's gonna listen to it, right? It's whoever that's registered to listen to it. So when you're using sending out broadcast, the constructor is a string. This string, Android calls this string an action, or you can think of it as a message ID. If you think of it, you're broadcasting messages, right? This is a message ID, and then you stuff, things onto the intent. This is your payload, basically. So message ID here, payload here, okay? So, what am I doing here? Oh, wrong, over here. I'm broadcasting over here, okay? So, okay, and this one, action string. So naturally it's similar to this. It needs to be a string that's accessible from this end and also on the this side, right? Because this one's creating the intent. So over here I'll be decoding it. So anyways, I have to have this. Yeah, they like to call it action. They like to call this, but there's currently in Android, there's so many action underscores. So I'll use for this example, I'll use broadcast. What was it? Progress. Kind of like this. So one kind of broadcast message is it's to update the progress bar. The other kind of broadcast message is to update that the sum, right, the result, like that number here. So over here I'm creating what's it, broadcast progress here. So that's gonna be the bring in. Oh, why is this bad? Duplicated variable I. Okay. So I'm broadcasting a message. The ID of that message is gonna be this. The payload of the message, and we'll put extra stuff in there, right? Same thing as before. Oh, then I also need that, this thing, progress here. But for this key, I again have to resort to the same thing here. Right. So one kind of situation, I'm updating the progress bar. So the parameter is progress. I'll call it this way. And the other one is I'm updating the result, like the sum. So anyways, basically on the main activity side, I'll be using these strings to look it up. Just like it's just like this thing, okay? They're gonna have get in extra on the other end, and it's gonna be looking up using this line, okay? So put extra. So it's same as talking to a child activity or talking to a parent activity. Make an intent, stuff things in it. Now this is how you do the broadcast. Now a real broadcast message is, you generate this message and everybody on the Android can receive it if they're registered to receive it. They will be receiving it, okay? So there is a broadcast something here. Send broadcast, right? Send broadcast intent. There is such function here, but this one, pushes it onto the entire operating system. So what I'm doing in this example is actually what they're doing in this guide online. They have this developer training and creating background service. That's why I get this stuff. Next, I'm actually on the last part now. Yeah, they have action and all that. Yeah, they're using this. They're using the local broadcast manager, and I'm doing that too. This thing will be more efficient. I'm just broadcasting this message internally to my application, so only the components. So I have 2 components right so far. I'll have a few more. Okay. So only main activity and adder intent can receive these messages. So it's like a more efficient way to broadcast. You just broadcast locally. So like I was saying, so you could use this to broadcast to everybody, or more locally this thing. So you get this local broadcast manager, bring it in, local. So local broadcast, and you send the broadcast. Okay, local dot send. Okay. So this will broadcast to main activity, and while I'm at it, I'm just do this too. Broadcast the sum back. Well, it's the same thing. It's a different message ID. Yeah, I created 2, right? I call it the result, and it's a different lookup key. I call it result, I think. Yeah, I call it result, and stuffing the sum onto it, and it's the same thing. These 2 lines are the same. Oh, I should rename this then. This is the result. And I'm broadcasting wrong intent. I'm broadcasting this one. That'll be bad. Okay, so sure I'm doing this right. New intent, stuff things onto this intent, and broadcast this intent. And over here too, new intent, stuff things here, broadcast that intent. Okay. Oh, keep losing that. Okay, so I just broadcasted, the result, the sum. I sent out this message, this little packet, that has the progress, and down here that has the sum. So I have to code this end. This is going to the receiving end. Okay. So on the receiving side, you need to do an object called broadcast receiver, and of course they do in the training, but the training example is more complicated than mine. Mine's really simple. Mine just add 2 numbers. Yeah, they have like extra filters. Okay, so I'll do mine first. I'll talk about this a little bit. This receiver, let me collapse this, okay? Okay, this receiver, you need access to this thing and this thing, because, when you get the progress, set the progress here, and get the sum, you're going to put it inside this thing. So the receiver is going to be inner class. Okay, so private class, what's it called? Broadcast receiver. Since it's an adder thing, I'll call it add, I guess. extends broad. Oh, it's smart enough to pick it up from here. Okay, so first step, write this by extending from this, and put your mouse over it, and you have this abstract method. So when this receive, again I have to do this. I have to fix the arguments thing like that. So when I receive a message, I'm gonna get here now. I'm going to have one receiver. I'm passing back two kinds of messages, right? One kind of message contains the sum, the result. Another kind of message contains the progress. Now, how do I know which one's which? Okay, I'm using the same receiver for both of them. I'm going to use the same receiver for both of them. And so the way you do it is you look for that action string. Remember when you create the constructor, Android calls it an action, right? That new intent thing. Android, Google calls this an action string. Yeah. So over here it's gonna be an action string as well. Okay. Oh, get rid of that. So then I'll do a string comparison on this action string. So I'll just compare to what was it? Oops. So there's either broadcast progress. Okay. Well, it comes up on the list first. Just receive a. And if the code gets here, that means I just received a progress message. Right, similarly, oops, what's the other one? A result. Okay, a result message. Okay, so. Okay, in this case, I need to extract it now. So over here, I stuffed it inside this thing. I stuffed the progress inside this thing. Just like a trial activity. Oh, just like a trial activity, I'll have to extract it. 10 dot. Get int. And that the adder service thing again, right? So where's the adder service? Param progress. Enter. I had to do enter second time. Actually, I'll put it on the same line. So I get the progress and I update the progress bar. Okay, so I do that. Okay, now. So similar thing here. Trying to avoid typing. So param is going to be result, right? Because over here I put the sum. Highlight, please highlight. I put the sum in this param result thing. So I'm going to extract it using this same thing again. And I'll put what's it? Set text. It's gonna be some convert to string. I think it's right. Okay. So that's one thing. So I have the receiver. So I still need to hook it up. So this is called the registration process. To bring it up, to bring that again. Bring this thing again. Oh, I was gonna talk about the filter. Yeah. So okay, here I'm looking at the action string. Okay, I'm getting a string. I'm doing this comparative thing to see, what the intent is. So there's actually more than that. This one you can attach more stuff to it. I mean, so yeah, you can go for example. Yeah, that's why it's a more complicated. It's a more complicated example than mine. I mean, okay. You need to so I'll go over this next, this broadcast registration. So what I have here, I have a receiver here. I also have the sending stuff code here. So I have the send code in the service here. I'm sending it here. I have a receiver code here, but they're not really hooked up. Broadcasting needs to be registered because there's so many messages floating around Android. It's very inefficient if every single message gets delivered like over here. I mean, right, on receive. So registration basically limit the number of messages that can end up inside of this thing. Okay, so imagine if every single message gets here, so I have to constantly call this, action comparative over and over again, like for all the messages. So the key is to limit the messages that actually get in here to those two messages, these two, and then once it gets in here, I'll further figure out which message it is. So okay. Anyways, to register it, registration basically tells Android that I want to listen to certain message. Okay, so I need to create that object that I just made this. Register to listen to progress and result messages, right? So that's what I'm trying to do here. So create that. So that's my first step. Create intent filter. This is what filters stuff out, right? That string. Wrong one. Oops. Intent service. Okay. Okay, remember that string, the broadcast progress string? This is a string that's used to construct intent. This is the so-called action string, right? See here. Action string, okay? Which is like the message ID. So I'm saying that I'm going to create a filter saying I only want that, this filter means I only want that particular action string. Filter cap, bring it in. Okay, I'll drag this out for a while. Filter, get this. Oh, you have to get this the broadcast manager. So like this. Okay. This is the object that's being used to register. So here's the registration. Okay. What's it called? Register. Arturo. No, it's a receiver. Receiver and filter. So what the? Oh. Okay. So these two lines basically register receiver to listen to this messages. Okay, so this is the registration procedure. You create your receiver, you create your manager, and you create your filter. And so those are three objects involved. The manager will register the receiver with this filter so that any messages that has this action string is going to get caught by this listener, by this receiver. So you kind of repeat this process with that other message, right? My receiver is receiving two kinds of messages. So this time no longer I'm reusing the okay. So what's the other message? I'm doing the result message, right? Same thing. So same thing here. I have a filter object that looks for this particular kind of messages, and then I'm telling the manager object hook up this receiver with this filter. So this receiver has by the time the code gets here, okay, this receiver object is listening to two kinds of messages, this kind and this kind. Okay, so that's the registration. So if I run the example now, it should work. Just kind of go over it briefly. Hit the add button. The add button gets the two numbers, create an intent, launch the service. That's just like launching a child activity, but this thing runs on a separate thread and it has no user interface. Okay, whereas child activity is like a new window, right? Okay, so you launch service over here. This gets executed on a new thread. Get the two numbers. Pretend to be working on adding and just sleeping. So get a progress number depending on where it is. I'm in the sleeping loop. Broadcast a message out, progress. I'm making progress, adding. And then back here, back here it's registered, right? This code has registered for this message. So this message, this progress message will get delivered to the receiver. It's gonna get here on receive, and this receiver is registered for two kinds of messages. So which message is it I'm getting, right? So if I'm getting a progress message, I'm gonna update the progress bar. So okay, so that's basically it. And the same thing with sum. So I'll try to run that now. So I'm running it successfully. So I'll just run it one more time for screen capture. So okay, so it works. Cancel doesn't work, like I said. Cancel requires some multi-threading. Requires one thread doing the adding and another thread waiting for the cancel message. Okay. Oh yeah, you can also broadcast messages, right? From this thread, from the main activity to over there, it's the same code. Okay, it's just the same stuff. Just move this stuff over there, add some IDs, add some message IDs, add some payload, payload IDs. So it's the same thing. And then you can do your cancel. You just send over a cancel message. But over here, you have to have a thread listening for the cancel message and then cancel it. So that's briefly over the cancel. I won't be doing the cancel. Okay, so this thing works because there's a GUI here. So the thing about a service is that it can be running in the background such that there's no GUI. So I'm gonna make this a little bit longer because there's a delay in the screen capture. Make it easier for me to do a demo. So 99. Right, 100, that's like 10 seconds. 0 to 99, okay. Okay, so the idea is that if there's no GUI, then you need to stuff this into the notification tray, drawer, whatever you call it. So I'll have to, instead of, or I shouldn't say instead of, I'm saying in addition to broadcasting this back to main activity, I need to send something to the notification area in case the GUI is not running. Okay. So the first step in the notification, notification is an object that I need to construct, and then after, this slide is about constructing the notification object. After I construct the object, I send the object out. Okay. I'll test that first. And then there's one more thing about this. Okay, so notification actually has a lengthy section in the guide. Oops. This is where I got the stuff. Guide. Okay, this one. I'm using this kind of notification, a normal view, so-called. There's another kind of notification that is a big view. It's more lines. Probably don't need this. So if you're interested, read the guide. Creating notification. Okay, that's what I'm doing here. Let me have a new function here. I'm calling notify. So what do I want to notify? I want to notify text. Text is what goes into that thing. Kill the layout. Okay, that text view where you show the result, like 2 + 2 is 4. That's where you show the 4. Integer progress. That's where you show the progress bar. And Boolean done. Okay, so the idea is this. See, there's a progress bar here. So when I'm not finished, I have this bar thing here. And when I am finished, I'm going to get rid of the progress bar. So when done, when the thing is done, I'm going to hide the progress bar. So that's like a done flag. So you create a new, you create a notification builder. Call it builder. Okay. This is the pointer. I mean, this is the context, right? Oh, bring it in. Okay. Oops. Okay. Yeah. So it's off screen. Yeah. If you look at the constructor reference, if you look up the constructor, this is a context. Okay. So there are required elements of a notification. These are required elements. Are they? These are required contents. So I'm gonna copy this stuff here. It's usually coded by chaining it together like this, but since I'm copying from my slide, I'll just do this. Oh, title. What should it be? An adder service, maybe. The icon, you should really come up with your own icon. I'm just using a system icon, so I don't have to draw an icon. This is the info icon. It's that circle with an eye in the middle. Text is from this thing. Now I talk about the progress bar. Actually, I don't need it done, huh? Do I? Need it done. Let me see. I don't need it done right now. Yeah, I need it for later. Okay. I'll leave it in here. So for now, I won't actually use this done. It's for a later example. Okay, so if this progress value is null, I'm going to hide the progress bar. So you hide the progress bar by saying the maximum is 0 and minimum 0. Indeterminate, that means the progress bar sort of is in an indeterminate state. The progress bar will be like just flashing around. It's not really, it doesn't really have a definite state. So you can try out that to see, what it means. You can try it to set this flag. Oh, it's false. I'm using determinated progress bars basically. So the progress bar has a definite number. If I'm saying it's 50% done, then the progress bar is like 50% full. Okay, it's not like flashing back and forth. That's the indeterminate one. That's when people don't know how long it's gonna take, but they want to have a progress bar. So, but they don't know how long it's gonna take, so you just have the whole thing flashing. Okay. Oh, this one hide progress bar. That's what that thing is doing. This one I'm showing it. Which one's the progress? So the first one is the max. The second one is the progress. Okay, here, there we go. See, max progress. So max is 100. Oh, okay, there. Progress is that number that I put in here. Okay, I think that's okay now. Okay, display notification. So yeah, so this part I'm building up the notification, right? So here I'm building up my notification, configuring the title, configuring the text, the icon. So I display notification, and this here. Oh, there's also this. Oh, I should do this too. Yeah. So when people tap on the notification, you want that to get rid of it, to cancel it. But that's not the default behavior. So basically, if I send my notification right now with just this stuff, and people tap on the notification, it won't go away. It's still gonna hang around. So add this, add auto cancel. So when people tap on your notification, it will be canceled. So that's how to send it. Sending a notification, getting it displayed basically. So I have this one, get the manager, right? All these things are done by managers. Like, I had this, the broadcast manager here. Local broadcast manager. Lots of managers. So it's another. Whoa, that's bring it in. Okay. It's always like get system service. Is that what happens here? No. Yeah, you can get this by looking for this guide. Oh, they have a little bit more. I'll talk about that next. That's what the done flag is for. Okay. Where's the section on? Yeah, so if you're looking for the guide, the section to copy and paste your code, I guess is this one, creating a simple notification. That's where this code is, but they're missing that that very important or very useful this thing. They're missing that thing in the guide. So I got annoyed having to cancel it. So, oops. Okay. So I get the manager and I get a notify, right? Notify. Okay. So the ID is always 0. So what happens is like if this notification is 0, and if I launch another, so notification 1 like this, okay. So if I launch 2 notifications, notification 1 at ID 0 and notification 2 at ID 0, notification 2 is going to cover up notification 1. So that's what you usually want. You don't want to launch 10 notifications and actually have 10 notifications in Android for user to cancel, right? You just want your later notifications to replace your previous notifications, and that's all this ID thing is for, right? Right. Bring up here. It has to be unique within the application, though. Okay. The notification must not be null. So you get a notification by using the builder thing, builder.build. Yeah. Where's my cursor? See? No, I hate this. Do it back here. Oh, it's only 1. Okay. But this notify will be called many times, right? So I want subsequent calls to, override previous notifications. That's what this is. Okay, so I'll use notify function here. Notify. Not coming up with this one. Oh, whatever. Okay, so here I'm broadcasting the progress, so the text is gonna be null. Progress is gonna be progress, and I'm not done yet. I'm still adding, so done is gonna be false. So here there's no more progress, so progress is null. Here I'm all done. The text is gonna be the sum plus this. Okay. Oh, no, it's not. It should be the whole thing, right? Sum equals. Okay, that's the message for the user, the text. Okay, so there we go. So text is gonna be that. Progress is gonna be null because it's at the end, and this done is gonna be true because I'm finished adding. But currently for now it's not used, right? The done flag for now it's not used. It's used in the next extension of this example. Okay, should be okay. Yeah, so basically I'm extending example by adding notification update in case if the GUI is not around. I'll run it. Oh man, get back. Okay, so I have 5 and 9, click add. Okay, now I hit the home button, so this thing goes away. To redo it over again. Yeah, what happens is the my mobiler, the program works. My mobiler disconnected. I have to do it over again here. Okay. Do the same thing again. So I have a different number now, right? 7, I guess. Okay, so I click on add. I hit the home button. So it goes down. So you see the progress bar going over here. Okay. And then when it's done, it's gonna have that message. The progress bar disappears. Right. It either displays a message or the progress bar, I guess. The way I coded it, sum is 12. So this is how the service can report back to the user even if the main user interface is gone. So currently tapping on this will cancel it. No, it doesn't. Well, it will after the next step. Okay, so currently tapping on it didn't do anything. Okay, so what you usually want to do is that you want to when you tap on the notification, you want to bring the user back to the application. So that's the next step. How do I bring the user back to this the application that he or she is using? The way you do that, the way you navigate to an application is basically this thing here. You create an intent to start an activity. That's how you start any activity or service, right? So you create an intent that will start. In my case, you create an intent that will start the main activity. Now this intent won't be launched right away, so usually you put it inside a pending intent. Pending means that it won't happen right away. It happens like sometime in the future. So you put the intent. Yeah, this is the intent, right? To start the main activity. You put that inside a pending intent, and then you set you attach the pending intent to that builder. What is it? To this builder object, right? Basically, the builder is like you're adding features to the notification. So to add the go to an application, to add that feature, you attach a pending intent to the builder object. Now there's some quirks to that. That's why there's a couple more lines of code about the stack builder. So they have an explanation on this. Let me look for it. So I'm here in the API guides, notifications. This topic, preserving navigation when starting an activity, they have an example in here. Like this notifications from the Gmail app demonstrates this. When you click on a notification for a single email, you see the message itself. Touching the back takes you backward through Gmail to the home screen, just as if you had entered Gmail from the home screen rather than entering it from a notification. So let me generalize this concept here. They want to set it up so that when you hit the back button, you don't exit, basically. So I generalize this concept. So they're saying that if your application, A, B, C, D are activities. Okay, activity A, activity B, activity C, activity D. So if your application has this kind of flow where it starts at activity A, hits some button, goes to activity B, goes to activity C, goes to activity D, A being your home screen. If the notification brings the user to C, okay, if the notification brings the user to C and the user were to hit the back button, the user should go back to B. Okay, not exit, to the Android home screen. Okay, and if the user hits back button again, the user will go back to A screen, the screen A, activity A. The user, so to have this kind of user experience, you need to fabricate a backstack. What you're actually doing is you're going straight to C. So you need to put A and B on an artificial backstack. So that's how they're doing it. So that's what they're doing in. That's why I'm doing in this stuff. You build a stack, and this is the bottom of the stack. This is the first activity. If you have more activities, you repeat this stuff. This is the intent to start up activity A, the bottom of the stack. So I'll just run this and show you how this works. Okay, so this is where the done button, right? If it's not done, tabbing on it shouldn't do anything. Like currently, what's the point? It's not done. Addition's not done, right? If done, then tabbing on notification will bring up main activity. So that's what I'm trying to do here. Okay. And most of this is in here I'm building up the backstack bottommost activity first. You know, that's your home screen, your bottommost activity, and that's how stacks are built. You know, first in, last out. Yeah, first in, last out. Yeah, that's right. So after this is a artificial backstack. You know, you have when you go from main activity to a child activity, the Android is creating a natural, so-called natural backstack for you. But in this case, you're trying to fake this backstack. But I don't have a backstack actually, but because I only have one activity. Okay. So they have this, or they have this. Yeah, guess try this. Wait, what API is this? Because I had a choice, right? Remember? I just kind of chose one. Okay, go. Yeah, there's two of them. App support v4. I was trying to find out which one to use, but let's just go through, and you know, if it warrants me, then I'll change the import up here. I might have imported the wrong one. So the so-called parent of the stack. So after the so-called parent, you need to start putting intents. So in this generalized example here, the first thing to go onto the stack is the intent that will start activity A. Then you put the intent that will start activity B, and so on. Okay. So I only have one. I only have one screen. So new intent activity. So add that. So add more intents for screen B, C, D, so on. Okay. Ah, there we go. Okay. API 16. Okay, that's 4.1, I think. Okay, so I did include the wrong one. So this is pretty advanced, you know, construct, API level 17. So, because I imported the, okay, so I know I imported the wrong one now. So do the import thing again, pick this one, okay? Unless you have a modern phone. Mine's Android 4.0, so it's just one API level below that. This won't run. So I had to import the support library because my phone's too old. Okay. Add more intents. Okay. So bring that into pending intent. Okay. Oh, see, the thing is, like, with this, they don't have this help. So this one, they say this. Is it the same, or? Oh, it's a little different. Yeah, so one of them has this, and the other version, so I'm looking at two different versions, one for support library and one for the main one. The main one doesn't have this. Oh no, it's just this one. Okay, so they're like the same. Okay, never mind. There's another one down here. Oops. So you can click on the flags. What am I using? Yeah, I mean, it's using upgrade current or update current. Yeah, I'm using a flag, that particular flag, because that's what they use in this thing. Let me see. So over here you go to, creating a simple notification. You click on this one. They have this example. They're using this one, update current. So what's that doing? If the describe pending intent already exists, then keep it, but replace the extra data with what's in the new intent. So here I'm just creating an intent. I'm stuffing it on here, but like any intent, you can put extra stuff things here. That's your initialization stuff there. So the way I'm doing this, the window will come up as blank. The text box will be blank. I'll show that. So you might want to put extra stuff, put some extra things here, and use those as your initialization parameters. So the user feels at home. So this, when you create intents only, the extras change. Okay. Do I have it all? Okay, so I need this one last thing. I need to attach this over there. So I created the pending intent by getting it from this the stack builder, the artificial stack, backstack. So I call it the builder here. So I need to attach pending intent to the builder. So this is where all the features are added, right? Builder.this, builder.that. That's how I added in all the features. Builder.build is where the notification object comes out at that very end. Okay. So if I run it now, I should be able to click on the notification and be transferred over to my application. But the application will be blank. And try to run it. Okay. So add 4 plus 6. So bring it down here. Okay. So now I'm going to tap on this. Okay, so it brings me to application now. Notice it's all blank. There's nothing here. It's like a brand new recreation of the application. And if you look at the notification area, it's gone now. Because I had that I had that auto cancel thing, I think. So let me comment this out. Run it, see if it's see if the thing stays, the notification, see if it will stay. Just give me some extra time to get to the screen. It used to be like 6 seconds, right? I made it 10 seconds. So I click on this one, and the notification is still there. You see, it's up the eye thing that I used for the icon. So it's still there. Okay, this thing is still there. You have to hit clear because of this auto cancel. Auto cancel is important, and they, for some reason, they left it out of this example here, I think. Auto cancel. Oh, they mentioned it. Well, they mentioned it in the guide, but they didn't include it in the example. That's only match. Okay. So like I said, when I restarted the app, it's like that. If you want to, had the number, I had numbers in there before, right? And something here. So if you want to do that, you need to stuff something into the intent. Stuff some stuff into this intent, and then just reinitialize the GUI appropriately. So that's how to fix that. Hello, in this video segment, I'll talk about the alarm manager. The alarm manager is a system service that can call your services repeatedly, so which allow your service to run in the background indefinitely. In the next video segment, I'll talk about how to start a service at boot up. So the example for this segment and the next segment is it's a single example that spans 2 segments. The example is a simple control panel. There's a button for controlling whether the service will start off when the Android boot, and there's another button down here for controlling whether the service will run repeatedly in the background. So that's example for both sections. I set up the example here. The basics of example. So I have the GUI. This sliding button thing is called the switch. I don't think I talked about that, but it's nothing that complicated. The switch is only gonna be on API level 14, so that's Android 4.0. So I have to do this just to be sure. And for main activity, I just have a basic stuff. I have references to 2 switches. I get the references to the 2 switches via the find view by ID thing. I left a comment for myself. I need to initialize these switch states, right? Because maybe maybe when I start the application, the service is already running in the background. So and I have event handlers for the 2 switches. Okay, the event handler is the onCheck change listener. This Boolean field tells you whether the switch is in the true or false position. Okay, so that's my setup, and this will be coded through through the 2 video segments, through this one and also through the next one. Okay, so previously when I write a service, over here, when we write a service, there's a function called, I was hoping the function would be listed here. Okay, the function is called something like onHandleIntent, and once that function exits, your service is gone. So what the alarm manager lets you do is kind of reschedule your service to run repeatedly. Okay, so for this example, I'll just first I'll create a simple service, and it's something simple. It just prints out a line to the log. So give it a fancy name like report location, right? But it's actually something much simpler. It just prints out a line. I'll be using intent service as before. Put a mouse over it. Like before, the service name is hard-coded, so there's no need for this. And like I said, the service is really simple. Just print one line. So bring in this one. Oh, and you have to register a service here, right? Someday, hopefully, you won't, but for now, you still have to do that. Actually, I just do this. This one here, double click, and yeah, the exported thing, false, because just private to my application. So all of this is explained previously in this slide. So anyways, this slide. Okay, so first let me define the interface, the extra interface I want to have. So I definitely want to be able to schedule the service, right? So I'll call it the enable function, right? Public static. Static because it's only going to be one copy of the service. So I'm not going to code it yet. I'm just going to describe what I'm trying to do here, so that if people want to enable this location reporting service, just call the enable function, passing enable true, and it will enable the service, have it loop in the background, and enable equals false will not loop it in the background, will just stop it. Okay, so that's one interface. The other interface that you want to have is like when the application starts, you want to know the initial state, like is the service currently running? So it's this thing. If it's currently running, I'll have this repeat off to true. Okay, maybe I should give it a better name. Yeah, let me call it like a report location on or something. Okay, so report location on means that this report location service is running in the background, reporting location, running in the background, printing out this line every 5 seconds. Okay, the report location off, in the GUI would mean that this service is not running in the background. Okay, so I have an enable function. I also need to know, is it enabled? Okay, so I can set that button. That's set the initialize this button accordingly, because it's not always going to be off, right? It could be running when the application started. So boolean is enabled. So is the service currently running in the background? Just fill in some junk here for now. Okay, yeah, I have that. Okay, so this slide is really about implementing these two functions to enable it. How do you get it to run repeatedly in the background, and how to query if it's currently enabled. This material is Alarm Manager. There's actually a training guide on it, and my example is mostly drawn from that training guide. So you can find it at Alarm Manager training. It's this one. Scheduling alarm. How do you schedule services? So let me use that on a new window. Yeah, something I want to point out here. There's several different types of alarms. Maybe I'll get to it. Yeah. So I'll get to it down here. Okay. So first is this pending intent get service function. This function, this is a key function. This is how you create a pending intent to a service. Now, previously on the intent service, you create a new intent, right? So previously, I start up the service using an intent, and I call start service, and that starts up the service immediately. So pending intent lets you start up a service sometime in the future. That's why it's called pending. Pending means something that can happen in the future. It doesn't have to happen right away. Okay. So that's what pending intent is. So pending intent.get service, and this function call is actually serves like two uses, the two purposes. Okay, if this flag is 0, it's going to create that service. It's going to create that pending intent. It's going to create the intent if there's no such intent. But if you are passing this, you can detect whether this intent is already exist. Okay, so basically I'm going to do this first, is enabled. Okay. So first I'll use the intent, just like before. So first you get the intent. It's what you do with the intent that's different. This is just like before. Intent requires a context. Not this one. Right, to start a service, you require context and the class. So the service I'm trying to start is this one, right? So the context needs to be passed in, okay? Because this creation of this needs it, and also this crucial function called this pending intent.get service requires it. Okay, so previously I would start service and I'll use this intent, right? So this time around I would try to create a pending intent.get service. So again, you need the context object, that's why it's being passed in. Request code is 0, you can look it up. Intent is this one. So flag is what I mean by dual use. If I pass in a 0, it's going to create the intent if it does not exist. Now in this particular case, I'm going to use this one. Okay, this particular flag. Let's see what the flags are, right? So you have cancel current, no create. So I'm using a no create. Okay, so this is going to return a pending intent. Okay. So okay. Oh, let me just bring it in and get rid of the red lines. Okay. So at this point, okay, if the service exists, it's going to return a pending intent. But if it doesn't exist, it doesn't create it. Okay, so at this point, pi null means service intent doesn't exist. It hasn't been created previously. Okay. See, I'm calling get service. So if somebody else, somewhere else, they already created this pending intent, I'm gonna get it. But if nobody has created a service, so at the very beginning, okay, when in the very beginning, when I call this is enabled, nobody has created this service. Yeah, so this get service is gonna return a null because nobody has created it yet. So that's how I know, okay, if nobody has created it yet, so return false. Okay, else. Okay, so this is how this thing is seen, right? Get service. Nobody created it. This will be null, so this is false. It's not enabled. Nobody has created this. But if someone else already created this service, it's going to be non-null, and I'll return true. So that's the implementation of this, and this is by far the easier one to code. So I'll code it first. Okay, so here here's something pretty similar. So fundamentally here, right? If so here you also need a context. So to enable it, it's the same function call actually. To enable is this one, but the flag this time is 0. So that's why I say this function does two things. If you have a 0 here, they're going to create the service if it does not exist. Okay, if it does exist, it's going to get you the pending intent to that service. Okay. So down here, if I'm trying to detect whether someone has created or not, say don't create. I'm relying on this return value to detect it. Up here, I'm trying to create it. Enable means create the service. So this line will always create it. If it doesn't exist, it's going to create it. Okay. So now I'm looking at the Android developer guide, developer.android.com, reference pending intent, and they don't really say the flag equal 0 thing. I just got that off some online example. So, and what they're saying is that, this returns a new or existing pending intent. It's not clear which, right? Are they returning a new one, or are they returning an existing one? Or are they returning a new one if there's no existing one, or are they going to duplicate? So, it's not clear, are they creating duplicated intents just by reading that? So, therefore, over here, this code should work, right? If enable is go true, create this new intent now. But fearful of creating a duplicate, I'm gonna try to detect. I'm gonna try to borrow this thing, try to detect whether it exists or not. Okay. Like this. Okay. PI equals null. Right. So I kind of modify a little bit here. So I get the pending intent first with this no create flag. That way, if it doesn't exist, it's gonna be null, and I'll call this. Okay. And the reason I do this is, so I will not create any duplicates, because it's not clear about just by reading this thing. They don't tell you what it does if there's no flag. See, all of these are non-zero. If you click on this stuff, this is a 4, this is an 8. So what happens if the flag is 0, right? This is a 2, this is a 1. So just saying, it's not clear what it does. So I'll be safe. Okay. Okay, so this is the enable path. Let's see, there's one more thing. Okay. So this creates it, and this is like pending intent. It's good for running at one time, basically. The alarm manager is what lets you run this pending intent repeatedly. Okay, so I got through this part. I just explained this part about creating the pending intent. So this line gets the alarm manager, basically. Gets system service. So again, you need a context object. So yeah, I already have that. I'm already passing that in. So here, this is for getting an alarm manager object. So equals this thing. Trying to show it all on one screen. Okay. Now this is what schedules the pending intent to be reoccurring. This function, set in exact repeating. So let's see. I think they have this training guide as I'm looking at it. So I'm looking at this function here. I'll explain these parameters. So I'll make a comment here. Code gets here if enable is true, right? And PI equals null. So service currently not running and user wants to run service. Okay. Oh, I call it alarm manager here. Okay. So the intent is this PI thing. Okay. This is the pending intent. So this is good for running one time. This is, this line schedule is. So I kind of explained the parameters. Okay, so can I drag this in here? Or I'll just go to the alarm manager reference here. Is it right? Develop reference. Set in exact repeating here. So type, first thing is type. So it's got these types. This is your clock type, and they sort of talk about it in the training guide, I think. Yeah, so the very first parameter is type. They call it alarm type. There are two general clock types: elapsed real time and real time clock. So one type is real time, and the other type is also called real time. So okay, so real time is the redundant verbose word there. So the key difference is the first one is elapse and the other one's clock. Elapse means that time since system boot as a reference. So the moment your Android boots, that's 0 and goes on. So the elapsed time is the number of seconds since your system booted. And clock is the wall clock. So clock is affected by time zone, right? So clock is the actual time. Like right now it's 11:56 p.m. or something. So that clock, okay. Usually it's using the elapsed time, and I'll be using elapsed time in this example. Okay. And there's further two kinds, right? There's elapse and there's elapse wake up. Remember, the real time thing is just verbose redundant stuff, because over here is also real time. RT means real time. So elapse and elapse wake up. The difference is that wake up will wake up the device, when it's on standby, when nobody's talking on the phone, right? Your phone's on standby, the screen is dark. And this will still work in that situation. The device will wake up. So what I'll be using is elapse real-time wake-up. So that's actually what they also have in the example. So that's the first parameter, right? Type. Trigger at millisecond, that's when you first go off. And interval milliseconds is the first off and the second off and so on, the third off. Like how often does it go off? So okay, so this half an hour is too long because I have to test this. So it's in milliseconds. So 5,000 means it will go off in 5 seconds, and it's gonna go off every 5 seconds. Okay, and put them on the same line too. So that's for my testing here. I think I explained this, right? Oh, one more thing. Everything is in the exact repeating. Okay, so here, as of API 19, all repeating alarms will be inexact and subjected to batching with other alarms. Okay, they used to have an exact. This thing's called inexact repeating. So it doesn't really repeat every 5 seconds exactly. It might be like 5.01 second or something in between it. Overall, it repeats roughly every 5 seconds on average. Okay, so that's why it's called inexact. They used to have this other function called exact, but as of API 19, that's gone now. So all the alarms are going to be inexact. Okay, that's just what they're saying here. So you might see some example using the exact repeating, right? But everything's in exact now. Okay, so that's it. So this creates that. What's next? Oh, these are for canceling. Okay, So to enable that thing, to have it repeat in the background, that's all you have to do. You create the pending intent, and you use the inexact repeating to schedule it. Okay, else. Right, this is the cancel path, right? Right. And of course, to be sure, I do the exact opposite thing. Okay. So comment here. Okay, code gets here if enables false, and PI is not null. Okay. Shouldn't say that is non-null. Okay. So user wants to cancel service. That's why it's called enable false, because they want to cancel it. Don't keep printing out that one line anymore. And PI is already exist. That's why PI is not null, because over here I had this thing and I had this no create thing, right? So this is not null. I have no create because it's already existing. This event's already floating around. I mean, the service is already floating around. So here's I cancel. Okay, here's my cancellation code. So my cancellation is alarm manager cancel, and also pending event cancel. So alarm manager cancels the repetitiveness. And you also want to cancel the pending event. I mean, the pending intent. Which, pending event, yeah, sure. Okay, so alarm. So this is how you cancel. Oop. So when you cancel, you feed it the pending event. Pending intent. Same thing, pending event, pending intent, same thing. So it takes a pending, mouse over, okay, see. So it takes your pending intent. Okay, that's why this is check this. That's why it's there. PI also cancel the intent itself. Okay, so that's how you do this. That's how you do the enable function. So I cover all this. So I'm ready to test it now. This part actually. Oh yeah, of course. Before I test it. Oh, go. Not testing it. Not testing yet. I have to fill in this stuff. This is where the GUI is. So initial state of repeat button. That's it. Is the thing running, right? So if report location is enabled. This. Set checked. Set check, right? Yeah, set checked. Okay. So I'm using that is enable function that just wrote. If it's currently running, set this button to the true state. The default is false. So here, so if it's checked, dot or enable true, the context is the main activity. Else enable will be false. This needs to be a pointer to the main activity. So okay. So it should be this pointer. Okay. So I think I'm ready to test now. Yeah, I have the class coded, and I have this enable and is enable coded. So I'll run it here. So okay, this is the very beginning. Oh. Don't touch it. This thing doesn't work on rotate. Okay, so currently there's no messages here. Right, there's no message because it's not running. The report location is off. So click here on So it's starting to print out those things. Okay, like that. And so forth. And it's every 5 seconds, or not exactly. If you look at the decimal point here, not exactly 5 seconds, but roughly 5 seconds interval. And I click this to stop it, right? I'll stop it. So it's no more. Go up here, up. Oh, why not just do it all? Let's do this. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Like that. Okay, so it's off now. If I click on, this doing it again. Let me clear the. Yeah, clear here. Okay, so if I use the back button to exit the app, I use the back button to exit, and it's still, it should still be printing, right? Every 5 seconds. That's the point of a service. A service can run in the background even though the app is gone. So as you can see, there's no app running currently. Okay. So the thing's still running. So if I start the app again, it says, the report location is on. That's that code where it uses the is enable function to see if it's currently running. So that's the point of that, to initialize this button. I do want to point out that if you use the home button to exit, so previously I used the back button to exit the application. If I use the home button, okay, and I go here, and I use this to kill it, the alarm will get killed too. Okay, so I do this thing, I kill it this way, right? So this will kill this. Okay, that's the limitation here, like a forced kill via this task manager thing. That's gonna kill off the alarm. But if you exit by using the back button, you won't. Okay, so start over, click here. So see, it's off. So on, printing junk out, right? Every 5 seconds, and off. Okay, so that's how this part works. Okay, and that concludes this segment about the alarm manager. Okay, so this is the last segment of this last video in the series. Okay, finally here. So previously I showed how to use the alarm manager to repeatedly run the service. But, previously you still have to start up the service by going through a GUI, by, sliding this slider. So in this segment, I'll talk about how to start up a service automatically by intercepting the boot complete message. So basically, Android will finish booting, and then it's going to broadcast this message called boot completed. So in Android lingo, they have this action that's called Android intent action boot completed. This particular action. Okay, so what you need to do is you write a broadcast receiver. Now remember, this is a broadcast message. So you write a broadcast receiver to intercept this message, and when you get this message, you run your service for the first time, and then you use that opportunity to schedule it to run forever. Okay, so that's the idea here. So it's kind of like here I talked about how to write a broadcast service in the previous segment. Over here, oh, this is about sending a broadcast. Okay, so really very low stuff, just a very low line. So I'll just go write it. Hide it, drag it. Okay, new class. Which I call it boot complete, or boot completed, boot. Okay, it's boot completed. Okay, broadcast receiver, and it's going to be a broadcast receiver. And this one does not need a constructor, huh? The other one does. The intent service. Always have to do this. So always have to okay, make it a little better here. Okay. It doesn't really do anything. It just prints out a message. The main task is to start up the other guy, right? To start up that, the main job is to start up this one, the report location service. So I'll get an action string, aka message ID. Okay. Now if the action is what's that line? This is the message ID, the action, right? So if the action is this thing, oh, so I'm gonna say boot completed. So that's for bring in the import. Okay, so this is just for my own debug use. The main job is this one, report location, enable true. Okay, so Android finishes booting. Android is gonna send out this message to everybody who's registered to receive it. Okay, and I'm gonna receive it, and once I confirm that's the message, I'll enable that printing thing, the service where I print to the background every 5 seconds. Okay, so the code is done here, but I still need to register this receiver to receive the boot complete message. Now, if you remember previously in the previous video segment, this is all done in code, this registration process. I manually create this receiver. I manually, create the filter, which is, the string being that boot complete message thing, string. Okay, and I manually call this thing to this register receiver thing to register the receiver. Oh gosh. Okay, so that only works if this thing is being run, right? So previously I had something on create doing all this. In this situation, this kind of thing won't work because this is not going to get run. That's the whole point. I'm trying to run something at startup. So to make this work, this is one way to register a broadcast receiver through code. So in this case, I have to use the XML registration technique. So I'm registering this receiver via XML. That way, the Android will know, to send this message to that particular receiver that I just wrote to this receiver. So it's here. I have to register it here. So what do? Receiver tag, name and enable. So actually, if you look at the training guide, right? Start an alarm when device boots. That's what this is all about. Oh, you need permission. Okay, first of all, permission. I skip my slide. Okay, first, yeah. This requires special permission. So somewhere here. Okay. So that's this thing, also available from the training guide. and they write the procedure. I mean, they write the receiver. It's just a very simple thing. But mine actually schedules the other service to run. So here's the registration code. Can copy and paste this thing, or you can just type in this stuff here. Okay. Oh. Okay, so this obviously has changed. Right? This is mine. So control space to bring up this window. This thing, broadcast receiver. Okay, look nicer here. Okay, enable false means that this particular receiver by default is not enabled. Okay, I'll enable it in code. In fact, that's what this button is for. Boot start off. This is my button to enable the that receiver. By enabling receiver, if I enable receiver, the code's going to run this thing. It's going to start this service when it boots up. That's what it means. Boot start. Start report location service when it boots. Okay, so action name is that message ID for the boot completed message, or what they call action. Why do they call it an action? Why don't they just call it message ID? Okay. So I had this. This is how you register it. Okay. So this is registered, but it's not enabled. That's what this thing's for. Set enable. Okay. It's not enabled because I had this thing here. So, and that's also what they do. Don't enable this by default. So here's the code to enable it. Here's the code to disable it. It's the same code. It's just this thing's different. When you're enabling it, it's this thing enable state enabled, and when disabling it's enable state disabled. Why don't they just call it like enable and disable, right? I mean, gosh, enable state enable. What? Okay. So first, I'll code in the interface first. It's kind of like before, that I had that enable thing, and that is enable thing. So public static, the is enable thing, right? False. Okay. Is it currently enabled to run at boot time? So that's to initialize that button when I start my program. Just completely the same as the same short interface as over here. In the previous video saying I had enable and is enabled, right? So static void enable. So enable. Oh. So write this one first because they already have the code here. So I just copy this stuff here. Right, it's a set. The key functions, the set enable, set component enable. Oh, everything here is like a mouthful. Okay, Shift O bring it in, but this one. Okay, so first of all, as usual, I need a context. Okay, so this needs to be passed in. Okay. Okay, so first of all, I need that passed in this part. Component name. They're trying to get this. The component name is what's your reason? Component name is this thing. The name of the receiver. That's the component. Okay, so this whole thing is referred to as a component. I'm trying to enable or disable this particular component. Trying to enable, disable this component. So component name is this thing. So in my case, it's boot. There. So you can see it all on one screen. Package manager. Okay, enable state enabled. That's enabled. This is the same code down here. The only difference is disabled. You can also tell, they say you can disable a receiver as follows. Okay, so if enable, run this stuff, right? So I have one function, I have one enable function for both enable and disable, based on this flag. So, okay, else. So this is the disable code, which is the same thing except for that flag. Disable. Oh man, too many disables. Okay, it's this one. Well, it's this one because that's what they use over here, right? Okay, so that's how you enable and disable it. Now, how do you know if it's enabled? How do I do this? Well, they don't tell you, but if you see this thing, get component enabled setting, maybe there's like set. Excuse me. If you see the set function, you should know that there's going to be a get function. Okay, so the same stuff here. Okay, now this. Okay, so once again, you need to pass in the context. I can't do anything at all in Android without this thing, huh? Oh, I have to have that. Okay, it's complaining about the return code. So don't worry about that. So it's gonna return somewhat. It's gonna return. Oh. Like what was I saying? If there's a set function, there's a get function, get. Okay, and this is all messed up now. Okay, so what does the get function take? Oh, why don't I just? This thing's not good for screen capture. Definitely use the Eclipse mouse over thing, in real life, but I'm capturing this thing and the box is always off the screen capture area. Okay, so that's why I'm resorting to this. Okay, so returns an int, and the return value may be one of these things, this one, or this one. Okay. Oh, what was I saying? Okay, it takes the component name, right? So we had this thing, that's the component name, right? We use this thing to get the component name. It's not a string. It's a component name. Okay, so if the return code, like this thing says, enable state enabled, enable state disabled. Where do we see that? It's, we saw it down here. It's this thing actually. Okay. Okay. So get enabled setting. I just skip words, else it just makes no sense reading out the whole thing. Okay, get the setting. If the setting is enabled, return true, because that's what the function is saying, is enabled. Else return false. Okay, so I coded this now. Now to make it usable, I have to go back to the GUI and do this thing. Same thing as before, right? If was it boot? Enabled. Boot. So same thing as before. If it's enabled, set that slider thing to true. Just like before. And down here, same thing as before. right? If I check it, that means I want to, if the user checked it, that means the user wants to enable it. So boot complete receiver, blah, blah, blah. Boot completed, enable, true. And the context is main activity. Okay. Else copy the stuff, but enable false. Okay. And now I have to find my screen capture rectangle. Oh, let me. So now I coded in the GUI stuff. Now it's ready for testing. I'll run it. So I'll first see if that. Well, let's test the old functionality first, right? Then break anything. Okay. So it's got that printout thing here. So every 5 seconds, right? You see every 5 seconds here. Okay. Okay, so first I want to see if this functionality, the enable detection is correct. So I have the enable. I use the back button to exit. Well, actually in this case, I'll try that. Okay, back button to exit. Go back in there. Oh, it didn't stick. Okay, apparently I think I didn't run I think I'm running the old version of the program. Okay, now it's sticking. Okay, now it's sticking. So get off. Back button. Okay, back in there. See, it's off. Turn on. Back button. Okay, go back. So this is sticking now. It's just, yeah, I didn't rebuild the program, I guess. Okay. So next I'll see if the message actually pops up here, right? Clear this. Okay, so here the boot start is on. So if I reboot now, it's gonna do that printing thing, right? Device will restart. So I'll pause the recording. I'll re-enable recording when the message pops up. Okay, so it's about 5,700 or so messages into this. For me, your number could be different, of course. So I get a message, boot completed, received, and I start running that service where I print, try to scare people, this scary looking line reporting your location. Okay. So it's working, it's doing this every 5 seconds or so. Okay. So I say, okay, boot complete message and then start service. Right, just like this stuff, right? Boot complete message received, start service. Okay, so I finally got into this thing. So currently it's been printing for a while now. Okay. So it's printing all the stuff out. Clear the messages. I'm gonna run that again. Oh, wrong thing. Back. Okay, so it's like this. So I put this so the printing stops. Okay. But if I reboot again, it's going to be back in on, right? Because the boot thing is toggling this service, scheduling this service for running. So okay, I do this, and this time I reboot. There will be no printing in the background. Okay. So I'll pause the recording just to make sure this actually works. So I have now finished rebooting. Yeah, you can see the message count. Well, and I still didn't get my messages, so I know that feature is being turned off. If I click on here, it's correct. It shows the the boot start off option as off and shows the report location options off. I toggle it on. I get my 5-second printout every 5 seconds, roughly every 5 seconds. Okay, I turn it off again. Okay, and so that's basically it. Testing. That's basically how you do the. That's how you do this boot complete message thing. So that's the end of the video, and there's a lot more, tons more stuff in Android, of course. Training has all this, and then API guides. API guides is another topic, another great learning resource with lots of stuff to read. So it's basically endless. So at this point, if you actually type in all the stuff, you should be able to explore on your own and keep learning Android. Okay, so it's the end of the video. Bye.